With the B&M Invert being one of my favorite ride models, I've looked a lot into its history. But also with me being a safety and rules obsessor, I've also looked a lot into that. And it's safe to say that these rides have operated safely for many, many years without many incidents happening. But saying that none have happened would be a lie, because they have. But most of the time, it comes down to when people don't listen to the rules. So I've compiled a couple of stories from real life examples where people did not listen to the rules and signs stating what to do, and it led to incidents happening. So before we get this started, I thought I should say a couple things. First off, the sources of these, I really tried so hard to get as accurate as possible. For the Batman of the Ride section, most of it comes from Coaster College's video on that specific incident. So if you haven't already, I recommend checking it. But for other stuff, all I could find were news articles, which will twist some stuff in certain ways. So I will let you know when the source was from a news article and when it wasn't. I also use Wikipedia, which is also iffy sometimes. So I just thought I'd get that out of the way. Second of all, a ground rule that I will always have when covering incidents is I will never use a real person's face or name when they were involved in an incident. They did not consent for me to use that information in my video, so I will not use it. So with that out of the way, let's move on. A good place I thought would be to start would be a quick history breakdown of the B&M Invert itself. You can skip to get to the actual incident if you don't want to hear this, as there's so much information online about the ride type. The B&M Invert was first introduced in 1992 with Batman the Ride at Six Flags Great America. Since then, this model has spread over the world with 189 installations all time of this roller coaster type. This ride was specifically unique then and now due to the position of the car. Instead of the typical train on top of a track, this ride has a train that rides underneath the track and leaves riders' feet dangling in the air. Since the year 2000, there have been 4 deaths related to this roller coaster model, 2 of them being at the same park in a 6-year span. This incident will obviously be the Batman the Ride incident at Six Flags over Georgia, the Raptor incident at Cedar Point, and the Banshee incident at Kings Island. So this ride actually has 2 incidents involved in it, so I'm going to split it up into 2 parts. In 1997, Six Flags Over Georgia opened Batman the Ride, a clone of their other Batman the Rides in the Six Flags chain. This one operated just the same. It operated perfectly fine for the first 5 years of the coaster's life, until the day of May 26, 2002. On this morning, a man was inside the restricted area of the ride. As the ride went on, the coaster approached this man, and he was struck by the full leg of a 14-year-old girl. This man was identified as someone who had worked at the park as a general manager. The police found no viable reason for him to be in the restricted area at the time of the incident. He would go on to later die the same day that this happened. The 14-year-old girl whose legs hit him had to go to the hospital for injuries caused by the impact. After the incident, a Six Flags spokesperson came out and denied any wrongdoing, stating that all restricted areas are labeled and put it up to very bad judgment. This next incident is definitely the more famous incident of the 2, and maybe the most famous B&M Invert incident of all time. 6 years after the first incident, on June 28, 2008, a 17-year-old boy was visiting Six Flags Over Georgia with a church youth group. When around 2 p.m., a group decided to jump a fence. Ignoring the numerous warnings on the fences, he and his group decided to go in. They were trying to skip the line so they could get on the ride faster, as the lines were very long this day. A group of security officers found a group of the boys inside the fences, but not in the immediate danger zone. They were immediately told to leave and get back into the queue. Later on, they saw two boys in the danger zone. One was running away, and one was laying down lifeless. These boys were trying to get back with the group that was already inside, but before they could, one of them was struck. The 17-year-old was hit, and he was decapitated by the impact of a rider's leg. After the incident, Batman the Ride was closed by Six Flags for investigation, and Six Flags gave full cooperation, but also pointed out the fact that all restricted areas had signs posted on the fences. I'm so sorry that this section of the video was so choppy. I had false information in my script somehow, and I was fixing it as I went along. I would definitely recommend, if you haven't already, to go watch Coaster College's video on this particular accident, because he does a way better job at explaining everything than me. Next, we head to the coaster capital of the world, up north at Cedar Point. On August 13th, 2015, a man had supposedly dropped his phone off the Raptor, the park's inverted B&M coaster. In this situation, a park guest would typically have to wait until the end of the night, when the ride was closed, for the employees to search the premises, looking for any dropped loose articles, and hope it's found. Then we'll later have to come back to the park later on to retrieve the item. This 45-year-old man, either not wanting to wait or believing he knew better than the standard protocol, decided to take the matters into his own hands. He jumped into the restricted area, over the fences, looking for his phone. During the search, the man was struck by the ride. Once police had arrived, he was pronounced dead at the scene. The ride would later close the rest of the day on August 13th for inspection of the ride, and would later open the next day on August 14th. The next season, Cedar Fair, the parent company of Cedar Point at the time, made the decision that they would not raise the fence around the ride like Six Flags did in the Batman the Ride situation, and the ride's fences stayed the same. We'd have to wait nearly a decade after the Raptor incident to see another one happen. So we head down south in Ohio when on June 19th, 2024, a 38-year-old man was visiting Kings Island when he would drop his car keys on Banshee. The protocol for this would be the same as that with the cell phone on Raptor, where employees wouldn't be able to retrieve the keys until the end of the night. Needing to get home and couldn't wait until the end of the night, he decided to get the keys himself, again ignoring signs stating the danger, and he went looking for his keys. He would be struck by a rider and later would be spotted from the ride's brake run. He would be rushed to a local hospital when paramedics arrived, where he would spend a little bit in critical conditions before being pronounced dead later on. Banshee would be closed for investigation for a few days, but would later reopen. Now, this is the only incident that I've really been able to understand the moment it happened. And I've had a video on this one before that goes in a little more detail and a little more explanation to what I think happened at the time. So, if you haven't already, I definitely recommend checking that video out too, because it is definitely one of my favorite videos I've done. Looking at all these incidents, they all have a common theme. Every victim ignored specific warning signs around them and recklessly entered restricted areas. While no one deserves to die, all these incidents set a reminder that these machines are only fun when used properly. There are signs and protocols for a reason. While no one deserves to die, rules are set, and they're not suggestions. They are there to keep people safe. Indulging in this kind of behavior is not only dangerous and reckless, but a sure way to get banned from the amusement park, if you even make it out. No hat, phone, key is worth your life, guys. I made this video to shine light on dangers of theme parks misbehavior, but also the reasons we have these rules around us. I love you all so much. It's great to be back on the channel. I'll see you in the next one. Bye!